Hello and welcome to the Parent and NI podcast, where we get together each month to discuss a parenting topic of interest, exploring the research and tips from our staff, but most importantly you guys. The kids are off school and we're now halfway through the summer holidays, unbelievably. But this month we're going to be chatting about summer boredom. And coming up in this episode, we'll be talking to parents from Ballycraigie Primary School and our friends at Playboard. They'll be chatting to us a bit about play modelling workshops and their ideas for play at home. But for now, I'm joined by our Director of Family Support Services, Muriel Bailey. How are you, Muriel?
I'm all right, thanks, Emma. How
Good
are you?
times. I'm really well, thank you. So let's chat boredom. Did you ever get bored as a child? Do you remember saying, I'm bored?
I do. I recall probably saying I'm bored quite a lot of time. While I was growing up, maybe more so in my primary school years, I grew up on a farm, so there's always plenty to do on the farm, but as a child looking back, it probably wasn't what I really wanted to do. So I found being out in the farm at times boring because I could see my friends going probably to summer holiday camps, going maybe 2 days out with their family. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying we didn't have days out, but on a farm they were less frequent. So your normal day would have been to go out, maybe help bale the hay, do things on the farm, and on a sunny day that was great, especially if maybe you had your cousins with you, but on other days it maybe wasn't as exciting, and I might have wanted to go to the local pool or go and do the local summer holiday club, but they weren't always the option. So I would have been saying I'm bored because I genuinely wanted something else to fill my time.
And I remember saying it as well as a child. I would have been quite easily contented, but I always remember my mum saying, how could you be bored? How could you be bored? Look at all these toys and all that you have. But I suppose, as you say, it is maybe just children will naturally kind of have a certain sort of period of time where they'll be interested in a certain activity, or if it's what adults are doing, it's maybe not necessarily something that really piques their interest.
Well, I do think we all have our own personalities and our own creative side, whatever that may be. So as a child, you're still I suppose focusing on finding yourself. So we as adults potentially not necessarily intending to give children things to do, but come along and maybe say, what about doing this? Have you thought about doing that? And maybe genuinely it's not in that child's interest, it doesn't interest them. So it's about finding that child's personality and what they're keen to do. And that sometimes can take a bit of time, and it depends on the child's age. You're trying to fill the child's interest with things to do with their age, which is okay, but sometimes again we need to be bearing in mind that children get bored easily or get their attention span is not the same. A 2-year-old's attention span certainly isn't going to be the same as an 8-year-old. So it's all those things that we need to bear in mind when children say they're bored. They're not necessarily bored with what you've given them to do, they just need to have a different way of interaction with them.
Yeah, and as you say, that probably could be quite challenged. Say you've got like a kid who's 2 and a child who's maybe 8 and then maybe a teenager as well. That could be maybe quite challenging to try and entertain them all at once. Like, would you have any maybe tips for parents who, I mean, I suppose if you can get a bit of one-on-one time with each of the children, that would be nice, but we're all leading very busy lives and it can be hard to factor that in.
Well, you're right, Emma. If you've 2 or 3 different age ranges of children in your house, you may have an activity that all children start off doing together very happily. Say for instance your 2-year-old after maybe 5 minutes will naturally get up and wander off. That's normal. But you might find then that the 5-year-old is maybe focusing on continuing doing it, and maybe your 8-year-old's really focused on it. But your attention then is diverted to the 2-year-old, so up you'll get to see what they're doing. So the 5-year-old was enjoying their kind of time with you as their parent, and then all of a sudden you've left that activity. So then they'll start thinking, where's mum or dad gone? So you might find somebody will say, I'm bored, not intentionally about the activity, but they're bored because they're maybe the focus of that parent's interaction has been lost because you've had to divert it to somebody else. So it is hard to manage that. And I think if parents are aware that sometimes that age variation may not suit the activity that you've actually set down in front of them, and if people can be aware of that before they start, sometimes that will alleviate 5-year-old and the 8-year-old maybe
yeah.
saying I'm bored when actually they weren't, and they were genuinely very focused on that activity. So it's just about being aware of things like that.
Okay. So it's not really a new thing. We've both said whenever we were kids, I probably say it now, to be honest with you, and I'm 30 years old. There's probably times where I'm a bit bored. So it's not new, but it's also a kind of strange emotion in that it doesn't seem to really serve a purpose. You know, when you feel tired or hungry or any of these other things, you know that you need to do something to kind of change it. Whereas boredom, it's kind of like, I don't know what to be at and I don't really know how to fix it. And that maybe is kind of a strange emotion for children too. So I suppose, does it actually serve a purpose? Can it ever be a good thing for children to feel a bit of boredom?
I think children in their primary school years, particularly if they're saying to you they're bored, I think it does serve a purpose. It first of all allows them to recognise that either they no longer are interested in doing the activity that they're doing, or potentially what they are not doing is causing them to feel bored, that they want something to do. So I think it serves a purpose in first of all getting them to think about, well, what would I like to be doing that would pique my interest. It can help them be more creative. It can open up hopefully communication, so that they can talk to whoever that adult is or older person in the room with them, or another child. What else can we be doing? Hopefully it can maybe encourage them to be a wee bit more inventive around what their play should be. Think outside the box, as we all say. So I do think it serves a purpose. Sometimes children may not see it initially, but that's about how we then can coach that and make it a positive.
Also, if you have or would like to know a little bit more about the research around boredom and how it can be good for children's development and different various things, we do have a new parents article, and that will be on our website parentingni.org from today. You can have a little read through that and find out more. So one of the other things that we did this month, Muriel, was we asked parents through our social media what they like to do with their children when they do find days where they're saying, I'm wild bored, I don't know what to be at. So we've had some really good suggestions. Claire Ann got in touch with us, and she was saying that, and this is a cracking one because, as we know, we've had some lovely weather. At the moment of recording, we've had a good week of weather, but it could have well changed by the time you're listening to this, because as we know, Northern Ireland does tend to get a fair bit of rain. But Claire Ann's suggestion was that her and her children have made some rainy day and also sunny day boxes. So they put different ideas in both boxes for different things to do depending on the weather. So that could be things like building forts in the living room, having mini beast hunts out in the garden, trips to the library, picnics, any of that kind of thing. So that's really good wee idea. So different, and factoring in, as you said, maybe being prepared and being aware of different things that might factor into, because there is nothing more frustrating than that, particularly for a child as well, if you're thinking you're going to go for a day out and then it's slashing with rain. And
No, that's right. I think it's about that preparation. You set something up, and as you say, the weather changes that. So if you then are not prepared, that's when children can get frustrated, and they will be shouting that they're bored, and then they can get annoyed, and then a parent will naturally, start to maybe think, goodness me, what am I going to do? And their mind then becomes too messed up as such, and not thinking what will we do, because they're that busy focusing on trying to calm the child down. So having preparation is really great, and it's about the cheapest way of doing it. You don't have to spend a lot of money. Children do naturally love playing games with their family. People love to play board games. They get great fun out of that. That's something you can do whenever it's raining outside. You can do different craft activities. You can make things. You can build dens, as Claire Ann has said, in the living room. And you have to be prepared that that's going to take over your living room. That's fine. Children love that. You can have fun as an adult doing it with them. You can get all the cushions down off the sofa and just, get sheets out and get on and do that. You can have indoor picnics. You don't have to be outside. But yes, if the sun's shining, as a family, take every opportunity to go outside, whatever that looks like, whether it's going for walks with your dogs, whether it's going down, if you're lucky to live near a beach or live near a park, and be outside and enjoy the better weather, so that when you have to be inside, it's less, people can actually use their creativity and do things differently.
And that's what I really liked about that idea, because it was involving the whole family. You know, they were all sitting down to come up with these ideas to put in the boxes and pick them out whenever it was time to choose an activity for the day. Another one that actually came through on Twitter from Hannah was something I'd actually never heard of before. It's called geocaching, which is a great wee idea actually. I'm going to have to read off my page here though now to tell you what it's about. So geocaches are small supplies that are hidden across the world, including here in Northern Ireland. Geocachers hide them and mark them on websites and apps for others to find. So any device basically that uses GPS, so everybody mostly has smartphones now, you can go out and locate these. And apparently there are loads of different sites in Northern Ireland. You'll not be too far away from one. So some of the more populated ones are Divis and Black Mountain, Castleward and Florence Court in Fermanagh. But Hannah said that she really likes this idea because it gets her youngsters out and about and being a bit more active walking without the moaning. So I thought that was really interesting. I'd never heard of it before, and it's quite cool because it combines the technology but also with getting them out more active and discovering things and seeing the world around them. So yeah, I thought that was a good wee one.
It also sounds, from reading it, because like you, I'd never heard of it before, it's very interactive with people you've never met or don't know. So you're kind of leaving toys and information for other families to find. So there's a connectivity going on there, which is actually quite nice when you think about it, that people are thinking of other people's needs and actually doing something for each other. So I think that's important.
Absolutely, yeah. And on Facebook then we've had Sinead given a lot of suggestions here. She's got summer schemes, football camps, explore us, the beach, any beaches. You can collect shells, sea glass, that kind of thing. She's also suggested the likes of Belfast Trad Fest, little free music festivals and fun days in the park. And she also says that holidays don't have to be expensive, that you can use things that you have in the house. So that was great suggestions there from Sinead. As well, just picking up on something that Sinead's kind of put in there about fun days in the park and things like that. There's quite a lot of things that the council's put on as well, then, Muriel, for families.
There's 11 councils across Northern Ireland, and if you go onto the website or call into the council offices, and a lot of councils will house libraries within those buildings as well, they'll have what's on boards up. You could talk to members of staff. There'll be events running across your town or your local area, which normally are free. A lot of the times you don't need to book or pay for tickets neither, and you can just turn up to events. And again, I suppose weather permitting, but they should hopefully be a variation of events. Some may be indoors. I actually was at a great event on Saturday up in the west of Northern Ireland, and it was run by the local council and civic centre up in Limavady, and there was a lot of drama and plays being given out in the square in Limavady, and there was Irish dancing. There was loads of creative tables set up for children to just go and do different activities. They had mini golf, I suppose, in celebration of the Open.
Fantastic.
And it went on for 3 or 4 hours. There was bouncy castles, and it was absolutely fabulous. And it was filled with families, and they were just coming in and out of the event. Of course, the weather was brilliant, but you then have the town within that area, so then families can go off and maybe have a bite of lunch, or they can go to the park down as well. So it's about using the amenities and the facilities, and parents should just feel comfortable and confident just to go and do that and take their children out to those things that are free. And normally you'll have a variation of activities that can suit all age ranges, which can keep all children entertained.
And I have a couple, just talking about kind of free family events, a couple of more suggestions from on Facebook. Grania has suggested free family entertainment at the Pride Picnic at City Hall, and she has also suggested libraries, big summer read, to encourage children to read over the summer. That's a great initiative, and we heard a wee bit about that in an earlier podcast episode. I think that's episode 4, so if you haven't listened to that, you can check that out. We also have had suggestion from Fiona about quality time in Banbridge for parents with bring your own picnic. Jenny has suggested the 3rd of August for Breastival, which is a free event for families. There's lots of things for toddlers and little ones at that. And yeah, there's a lot of other things that are all free, but what I would suggest you doing is just check out our social media channels, because that's where you'll find all those different suggestions. So across the board on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram, we're just at ParentingNI. So you can hit us up on there and see what all suggestions we've got.
And we have a couple of exciting events coming up over the summer as well.
Indeed, yes. It's our big birthday here, so we've got lots of good free family events coming
We'll
up.
be advertising those, and they're definitely family friendly and are free to parents and their families and children to come along to. So
Yes,
you'll
keep
be
your
keeping
eyes peeled.
everybody up to date on that.
Yeah, so yeah, as Muriel says, do keep an eye on our social media channels for that too, because we'll have lots of exciting news coming for you to celebrate the big 4-0 for Parenting NI. Muriel, thanks so much for
Thank you,
chatting to
Emma.
me about this. It's a nice wee topic, and hopefully parents will get something out of it. We've got some very special visitors with us here today, and I'm just going to ask you to tell me your name and what age you are. So do you want to start first?
Isabella,
And what age are you?
9. Jack,
And what
7.
You're 7.
Alexander,
And you're 7 too?
yeah.
My twins?
Yes.
Special. Okay, so yous are off on your summer holidays at the minute, aren't yous?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are yous having good fun?
Yeah.
Like being off school?
Yeah.
Say when you're off school, do you ever say, I'm bored?
Yeah. Yeah.
Lots.
Yeah. Yeah.
What makes you say I'm bored? How does it feel when you're bored?
It feels like you just don't want to do anything and you're just like bored because you just don't want to do anything and
You don't have anything to do.
yeah.
Okay. So when you feel like that, what sort of things do you like to do?
I read in my bedroom.
Oh, brilliant. I love reading. What's your favourite book?
Harry Potter.
Oh, brilliant. I love Harry Potter. And what about you boys? What would you guys do?
I would
Play toys, make paper airplanes.
Make paper
I
airplane.
would-
Brilliant.
go outside and build with the wood or
Oh, cool. What sort of
Play.
things would you build?
boats and forts.
Wow. That's cool. That's a really good idea.
And I
That's
would
very
play
creative.
with Lego.
Brilliant. Love Lego too.
And
He loves Lego.
What about if there's any boys and girls listening to this, or mummies and daddies, who are thinking their kids are telling them they're really bored and they don't really know what to do? Have you got any other really good ideas that would stop them being bored?
you could play
You go play
outside.
with your sister and brother outside to play and make you stop being bored.
I like dressing up as princesses.
Oh, brilliant. Disney ones?
Arts
Yeah.
and crafts. Yesterday we did junk art whenever we were bored.
And what's junk art?
You build stuff with like cardboard. and
Cardboard
stuff.
that is junk.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. And you can make things out of it?
Yeah.
What did you make?
I made
I
a car for my teddies and
Pod.
like
Pot.
somewhere to stay for my teddies.
Oh, that's brilliant. These are very creative.
And sometimes we would use the hammer beads. They're like little beads you put on boards. Hammer beads.
Oh, okay. And that's to like make wee pictures and things, is it?
Yeah. Play
And
on
we
my
like-
bicycle outside.
And we like to play mums and dads sometimes.
Oh, that's a nice one.
We love football
And we played outside in our garden.
and
We like to play with our match attacks.
the football
Cards that you can swap. And you can
Brilliant.
play like matches with the cards and stuff.
And have you got class players in your cards?
Yeah.
Who's your favourite player?
Van Dyke 100.
Oh, brilliant.
I've
Van
got
Dijk's
him.
brilliant. Come
I've
on, the
got
Liverpool. You've got him? He must be that must be a good value
His
card,
tack-
like.
I like
His
salad.
tackle
Oh,
is
Mo
100.
Salah's class
His
too.
tackle's 100. His defence is 100.
Just because he's the best. Isn't he?
Yeah.
No, you can get better.
Oh,
Maybe
no,
you.
nobody's the best. Because Liverpool are the
Stephen
best.
Gerrard's.
Oh, Stevie G, legend. Right, thank you very much for all your ideas. That's great. All the boys and girls and mums and dads will have lots of ideas for the rest of summer now for play. So thank you for coming in and talking to me.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so we're at Ballycraigie Primary School today. We've just had a play modelling session, and as we are talking about boredom in the summer months, we thought it would be good to talk to some parents about their experience of today's session. So I'm joined by Rosie. Hi. Kids are running about in the background here, so we're just keeping a wee eye. Rosie, you're a mum of 3.
That's right.
Yes. And do you find that the kids do tell you in the summertime that they're bored and they're not knowing what to do?
Yeah, it's interesting. Actually, this will be my first school summer holiday, but even in an afternoon, in a weekend, my eldest particularly, he finds it very difficult to play by himself, and he'll just follow me around saying, "I'm so bored," and then go off. And if I tell him to go off and play, then often he will start a fight or something to get my attention again. So today has been really good just for giving me some starting points, like, putting some things out for him to play with, or, something that will help him to learn to play more independently as well as to help me.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes actually boredom can maybe be a good thing. There's the sort of things that you're talking about there. If there's even just stuff in the house, parents sometimes worry about how much they need to spend, if it's on toys or taking them out places, but you can just use things around the house then to entertain them, and then they get to use their imagination a little bit more if they're complaining of boredom.
That was a part of the presentation, was about how important it is for children to feel bored so that they have that impetus and that self-drive to play. And I think because my eldest was my first and on his own with me for 2 years, I probably fell into that trap of always being the one who's entertaining him and playing with him. So I think what we're going to work on after this probably is just helping him to get back in touch with that bit of him. That is kind of just, self-led play and finding himself something to do.
Yeah. Okay, thanks for talking to us, and I'll let you get back to the kids now. Thank you.
Run away.
I'm with Stacey, who is a mum of 7, so you have your hands full.
Very fun.
Yes. And she's also attended today's play modelling session. So is it common that you would have the kids coming to you saying they're bored?
Yes, very, very, very common. So it is, because different ages and different stages of development, obviously they'd be in their own wee, different likes and dislikes, so maybe one's busy playing with the Lego and the other one's like, "I'm bored, I don't want to play his game," because they're 5 boys and the oldest is a girl, so then she would be more bored than the rest because the boys can play together.
So do you think that today's session will help you maybe with putting some different ideas and things in your own home?
That my 3-year-old was in attendance to this session with me, and I was watching some of the ways he was interacting and the games that he was playing with, and I just sat back and watched it a moment and thought, do you know what, I never thought that he would be able to, he was ready to play half of these games, and but it's made me think more about wee things like the lady had said about, yes, obviously safety is important, but you do need to let them be children.
Maeve from Playboard, who has facilitated today's session with the parents. So Maeve, do you want to tell us a wee bit about what the sessions were about today and what the aims of them are?
Yeah, so Play Sessions for us as an organisation is about endorsing free play for children. We really encourage outdoor play. Now, given the circumstances, not everyone can provide that facility, so it's about engaging with children with the least adult intervention as possible, and allowing them the space to grow and develop and to structure their identity through playful materials. Today in particular was about showing the parents that play doesn't have to cost any money. So we had materials like hula hoops, water and plastic ducks. We had a roll of wallpaper with colouring in pencils. Everything that is in your household, from dressing up and letting them have that creative play and that imagination. to toasted marshmallows. So something that you can do in the summertime with your barbecue, and it is all from those pound shops. Not endorsing them, but lots available. And it's really accessible. And it's about how you interact with your kids through limited resources, but creating that playful environment for them, as previously said, to grow and develop as individuals.
So that's one of the things that we're talking about within this episode of the podcast is boredom in particular. And I mean, what you're talking about there is quite good, because parents sometimes think, oh, it means that they have to go out and get them a new toy, or they have to take them to the cinema, or they have to do this and that. So it's just simple things around the house you can even do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it is, even if it's going out for a walk, and if you're walking past a play park where there's fixed play equipment, let them have that chance. Don't ever make your child do something that they don't want to do. If they're bored, let them be bored, but always have something in the room, whether it is a toy or whether it is a box of colouring in pencils and some paper, and they will find that opportunity. If they're bored, they will do that themselves. So, and encourage them to do that as well. Don't force something onto them, because they will reject that. So let them find their feet. And let them explore what they want to create.
So now I'm joined by Sinead, who is the family key worker in Antrim for our Families Together project. So you were the one that kind of worked in partnership with Kim.
Kim is from Muckamore Parish Development Association.
Okay.
And she's the family key worker in the area. So she and I work very, very closely together. And we've just finished with a load of scrapbook sessions, which were got all of the parents together in a sort of an intimate little group, and they were able to sort of use their fingers. The children were kind of, they were enjoying a wee bit of arts and crafts with it and colouring in. And from that, then our partnership grew through that and through providing and facilitating those scrapbook sessions, after which I had attended play training. She had attended the same play training, and we got our heads together and we decided that we could take the play training for parents to Ballycraigie, and the response was great. Playboard facilitated, and they put on a play modelling session, which was for parents and children to enjoy play, but we were also able to put on a play awareness session for parents only, and that was all to do with the theory. And from this now, we would like to use this as a springboard for 7 further sessions, focusing on play completely, and on parents enjoying playing with their children, or carers, or childminders, whoever wants to.
It was lovely, actually. There was some really nice kind of things going on in the room, loads of different things, and something that's really come across when we were talking to the other guys there, both from Playboard and the parents, was that it was all stuff that you just had in the house. It was really easy to just, you didn't have to spend any money. It was just stuff that you could just pull out of the cupboard and have a bit of crack in the house, you know.
There was one of the young girls, I think she was about 2 years old, and she just went into that dressing up box, and it was like something out of a Victorian era. It was just all mishap, and she put on, that lovely big round hat, like a sun-shaded hat, and a scarf around her. It was a lovely silk scarf. It was like all, and a handbag with the tassels on it, and it was just, all she was missing was the high heels.
I know, yeah, there you go. Big thanks to the folks at Ballycraigie Primary School there, particularly the mums that got involved in the discussion. That's Rosie and Stacey. Thanks very much. And to Sinead, and also our friends from Playboard, Maeve there, telling us a little bit more about the play modelling sessions that they go out and deliver. But if you would like to know a little bit more about Playboard's work, they've got some great online resources with their Play Matters campaign. There's a parent's guide up there for play. You can visit their website. It's playboard.org. So www.playboard.org. And you'll find loads of suggestions of things to do up there. But for now, that's it for this month's episode. We hope you've enjoyed listening as much as we have enjoyed recording it. This was a nice, fun episode to do. But next month, things start to get a little bit more serious, because as we approach the end of the summer, unfortunately, a little bit of stress and worry maybe starts to creep in for some parents and children who are waiting on exam results. So whether that be GCSE or A-level, we're going to look at managing expectations around your young people getting their exam results in next month's episode. So just to make sure that it's out before the young people get their results, we're going to be putting that episode out a little bit earlier in the month. We're trying to keep these consistent, going out at the end of each month, unless it's a special episode, the likes of the Father's and Mother's Day ones. But no, next month it's going to come to you earlier in August, so keep your eyes peeled for that around exam expectations. Thank you very much again for listening. If you can, please do continue to rate, review and subscribe on all the regular platforms that you're listening to us on, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or on our host site Podbean. So thanks very much, and we'll talk to you next month. Take care.